afternoon, Facebook. Well, we had a few little issues yesterday, technically speaking. So we are back today, and today we are going to be talking about Jupiter. So, as always, Saturn. See, we're having those issues again. Today that was my problem.
That's okay. Yes.
So, as always, I am Colleen Parith. I am the Social Media and Public Relations Coordinator here at the Space Foundation. And today we have a very unique and special guest, Caesar. So, Caesar is going to be telling us all about Saturn today. So, last night Saturn was actually in opposition. We're going to be talking more what that means about later. So he's going to be talking all about Saturn and teaching us some really fantastic things. So we've got some fun facts. He's going to talk about some missions that have visited the planet. And we've got some wonderful questions from you all. So Caesar, go ahead and take it away.
Good almost afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caesar. Today I will be speaking to you about a mysterious planet known as the jewel of our solar system, Saturn. Yes, in our solar system exists Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, of course. That is one we are focusing on today, of course, Uranus and Neptune. Now, when I was a boy, Pluto was considered the ninth planet, but since then, many great minds have gotten together and recategorized Pluto as a dwarf planet. Yes. I digress. Back to the jewel of our solar system, yes. In Roman mythology, Saturn represented the god of agriculture.
Now, one thing that we've talked a lot about, Caesar, is that all the planets, we usually have a Greek or Roman name, but there's also a counterpart in the other mythologies. Saturn is the Roman god of agriculture, you said, and in Greek mythology, that was actually Kronos. And Kronos was the father of Zeus, who we also know as Jupiter.
Beautiful. Well said. Nicely
Thank you.
done. I couldn't have said it better myself. Even though this planet was first observed in the second millennium BC, that's before Caesar, just kidding, with the unaided eye, it was Galileo who first observed Saturn through a telescope in the year 1610. Yes, interesting. Another prominent gentleman with significant contributions into the investigation and understanding of Saturn is a man by the name of Christian Huygens.
Quite the name.
That is a name, and that name will come up later. This is a man who correctly inferred, the geometry of Saturn's rings. The name Huygens will come up later, like I said earlier in our conversation. Huygens was a Dutch mathematician, astronomer, and physicist. Not a bad resume to carry around with you, wouldn't you say?
Not at all.
Yes. Let's see. Among his plethora of accomplishments, such as discovering the true shape of Saturn's ring, he contributed significantly to the development of the telescope. Believe it or not, look, this thing here, it wouldn't be here without this man, Huygens, okay? Yes. He came up with some original design aspects, really, actually, yes.
That's really interesting.
I thought so myself, yes. This man he really was involved in his work. Just recognizing and identifying a new planet is one thing, but to design a way to send a spacecraft up into space on a rocket, have it travel into deep space equipped with sophisticated instruments that are meant to measure phenomena, program it to investigate faraway worlds is a whole nother level of awesome exploration. Yes, I love exploration. Do you?
I love exploration. That's how we learn all sorts of new things.
Exactly. We wouldn't be where we are without exploration.
Absolutely.
Yes. Deep space exploration, and planetary exploration for that matter, is a long-term endeavor. One needs to come to grips with the fact that some answers that one is looking for may not come in the timely fashion that they think it would. Yes, you have to be very patient. They're all pieces of a puzzle in the big scheme of everything. Life, the universe, you know? Yes.
It's a lot of time.
Yes.
So that's some wonderful, wonderful info, Caesar. So we talked a little bit about these missions, and you have to be patient with them. What can you tell us about missions that have been to Saturn?
Yes. Okay. Let us begin by looking at the deep space probes that have explored our solar system and beyond. Now, there was one, and I'm starting a little bit later after probes have already been going into space, but I'll start with Pioneer 11. It was significant. In 1974, it launched, became the first probe to study/observe Saturn. Yes, Pioneer 11. Pioneer 10 and 11 were designed to test the ability of spacecraft to survive passage through the asteroid belt that's between Mars and Jupiter, and it was meant to try to see if it could survive Jupiter's magnetosphere, because it's huge. Before these, and since then, we have sent probes to the farthest reaches of our solar system. Yes, all in the name of exploration, of course.
Which we love.
Yes, we do. One of those orbiters/probes sent out to our science, to do our science for us, is the Cassini Orbiter-Huygens probe, known as one of the most ambitious missions ever launched into space. The Cassini-Huygens mission was a two-part mission, really, yes.
2 parts.
2. Launched from Earth in October of 1997, it took Cassini about 7 years to arrive at the jewel of our solar system. During those 7 years, Cassini had to use Venus's and Earth's gravity to assist it in increasing its velocity. It had to go out there really fast, you see. Travel through the asteroid belt and visit Jupiter on the last stretch to Saturn.
Were you even born 7 years ago, Caesar?
You'd be surprised how long I've been around. I've actually been around since the second millennium, really.
That's fantastic.
That's why I know so much. I'm very wise because of that reason.
Makes sense.
There was a special passenger on Cassini with a separate purpose. This passenger was the Huygens probe. The probe was meant to detach from Cassini and to descend to one of Saturn's moons, Titan. Yes.
Ooh, it sounds big.
It's got a lot of moons, of course. That was one of them, Titan. It is because we have sent these robots to other planets that we know so much about them. This brings us to what we know about Saturn currently. Its evolution, distance from the Sun and Earth, size, mass, composition, that's what it's made of, its seasonal changes, yes, I said seasons, its moons, etc. Yes. You following me?
I am. It's a lot to take in.
Well, yes, there is a lot. I could leave out a lot and miss a lot.
I'm sure.
Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system. Yes, did you know that?
I did.
Cool. It's made up of primarily hydrogen and helium. Saturn has 53 confirmed moons and 9 provisional moons. Provisional, very interesting, I found.
Now, we did talk about provisional moons not too long ago. I don't know if you watched our Facebook Live on the moon.
You did?
We did, and we talked about how a lot of times they get kind of these funky numbers first before they actually get names and they're confirmed. So,
numbers to names, interesting.
And yeah, it's really interesting. So if you missed that one, make sure you go back and check it out. You'll have to watch it on our Facebook page.
Yes, indeed. I will look at this one, actually. I can't wait. So let's see. So Saturn's moons alone are significantly attractive enough to warrant missions looking for life by themselves. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Because our moon is pretty desolate, yes?
Oh, it's not much there but dust.
We have found water ice on our moon, but no life.
No life.
But there might be life on Saturn's moons.
That's awesome.
Yes. The solar system settled into its current formation roughly 4.5 billion years ago.
Wow, long time ago.
That is, yep. The dust and gas that was pulled into Saturn ended up forming the planet, happened at a distance of 886 million miles from the sun. That's a long distance. I don't even know how I can comprehend that kind of distance. Do you?
Not really, no. Football fields, maybe?
Well, I just wonder how many football fields that would be.
A lot.
Saturn's rotation is the same as Earth's counterclockwise rotation. Its rotational speed is 1 full rotation every 10.7 hours. Whoa, that's fast.
That's really fast.
Whereas Earth's tilt is at 23.5 degrees, Saturn's is at 26.73 degrees. so slightly more than us, yes?
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
This is what gives Saturn its seasons, yes. I'm sure some of us didn't know that Saturn had seasons, but it does, yes.
That's good to know.
And there's a lot of other planets that have seasons, believe it or not. It takes Saturn 29 years to make one full orbit around the sun. Did you know that?
That's a long year.
That is a long time.
I mean, time flies, but
Oh, yes.
that's a long time.
Especially if you're having a bad year, yes?
A really bad year.
Let's look at the structure of Saturn from the core on out, shall we?
All right.
Its core is dense and composed of rock, ice, water, believe it or not, and other compounds that are made solid by Saturn's intense pressure and heat. Surrounding the core is liquid metallic hydrogen and liquid hydrogen. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. Now, as a gas giant, it would make sense that there is no true surface. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Saturn's diameter is about 72,367 miles. Boy, that's a big waste belt right there, don't you think? Yes, I agree. The outer layer of the planets is comprised of gases and liquids being flung around by violent winds, pressure systems, and temperatures. Now, above all this is an atmosphere, believe it or not. Saturn is blanketed with clouds, stripes, and storms. Yes.
Storms. Oh, we've been talking about storms on those other
Have you?
planets.
Wow.
There's a lot of them out there.
There seem to be. I would agree. The winds on Saturn reach up to 1,600 feet per second. Wow.
Seconds.
Whereas Earth, they reach only up to 360 feet per second. That is a significant increase in wind speed. Don't you agree?
Oh, very significant.
Now, for my favorite aspect of Saturn, I must say, this is my favorite, okay?
Okay.
The hexagonal shape on its north polar region.
Like the North Pole.
But what is a hexagon doing on the North Pole of Saturn?
That is kind of an interesting shape, and why is it there?
Well, what's interesting is a lot of people don't understand that shapes are actually out there and we discovered them. That's how we know them. That is why we usually think that geometric shapes come from us, but no, there's one on Saturn. And I'll tell you what is making that happen. There's actually a really interesting combination of winds that are occurring. One is a jet stream, really. We all know what a jet stream, a dominant wind that happens at the upper reaches of our atmosphere. Well, there's a jet stream on Saturn, and it's really fast, and it's what helps confine the gases up in this region into a hexagonal shape. But it doesn't do it alone. It does it with a giant upwelling of another kind of wind coming from deep within Saturn's atmosphere, really, yes.
What's that wind?
It doesn't really have a name. It's an upwelling of very violent winds that work in combination with the jet stream, which help to make that hexagon, really. Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. So, let's see. We talked about the hexagon, and I want to talk about the moons.
I love talking about the moons because when we first started these Facebook Lives and we started with that first planet, Mercury,
Yes?
a little bit boring. No moons, no rings. It was just a rock.
Oh, that's a bummer. But see, Saturn has 53, if I'm not mistaken, right? Didn't I say that?
Uh-huh.
9 provisional. And of all of those moons, I know there's a couple at least that might appear to have life, that could exist in some form. But they don't know yet. But we're finding a lot of evidence that would suggest that to be the case.
How awesome would that be?
I talked about Titan. We landed Huygens on Titan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would we land a probe on Titan? Well, of course, there's obviously it's scientifically attractive, so we're looking for life there. Hopefully some kind of organism could potentially live there in that extreme environment. Just like Enceladus, right?
Sure.
Yes, there's lots of things occurring there, and there's a lot of, it's almost like geysers of water ice spouting out of the crustal regions of that moon, and we have flown Cassini, which was the one probe that we sent to Saturn that's been doing all this amazing scientific work for us. Well, Cassini has flown close enough to that moon where it got some samples of the kinds of things that are in those dust clouds that are coming out of the ice crystals, right? And so they're analyzing it, and hopefully we'll find out more about that moon.
I don't know that I'd want to live on a moon with ice crystals, though. That sounds a little too cold for me, personally. Maybe for you.
That's so true, because now we're framing this in the fact that, are we going to that moon? No, probably not. I mean, but just the mere fact of finding life there would open up a whole new realm of exploration and a new understanding of our solar system and the universe itself, yes.
And how cool would that be?
And that's the game we're playing. We're finding pieces to the puzzle, really. And they all will just hopefully one day tell us more.
More is great. I love to know more.
Yeah, me too.
So, obviously, this is why Saturn is the jewel. It's why
Yes.
we call it the jewel of the solar system. That was some wonderful information, Caesar. So, we've gotten some fantastic questions from our viewers here. So the first one we got from Belle, and she asked us, how are the moons of Saturn named? We've been learning a lot about how they're named, and Uranus has kind of the funny names that don't fit into the Greek mythology of things, or kind of Shakespeare. So what about Saturn? Where does it get its names from?
Well, let's start by saying in 1847, British astronomer Sir John Herschel suggested that the moons of Saturn take their names from the Titans. The Titans, yes. So not the Greeks and not the Romans, the Titans. The mythical siblings of the Greek god Kronos, Saturn to the Romans, of course. The Titans battled the Olympian gods and lost. Oh, not a good outcome.
No.
Once the names of the Titans were used, the moons began to be called after other characters from Roman and Greek mythology.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if they're going to keep finding moons, they probably ran out of names, and it's bound to happen, wasn't it?
Of course. Yes, indeed.
So with that, I have my own question for you, Caesar. So what about the rings? Don't the rings have names as well?
Well, it appears that, this is what we know so far. Named alphabetically, really, actually. No, so they don't have names. They just go by the alphabet in the order they were discovered. So the rings are relatively close to each other, with the exception, of course, of the Cassini division, a gap measuring 4,700 kilometers.
Oh.
That's 2,920 miles. The main rings are working outward from the planets, known as C, B, and A.
All right, well, I guess that would make sense then for us. Caesar. So we've got... So then along with that, we've got another question about the rings. Ron asked us, what created these rings?
Oh, that's a very good question. The rings are believed to be pieces of comets, or asteroids, or shattered moons that broke up before they reached the planet. Each ring orbits at a different speed around the planet.
Wow.
Now, of course, these are just hypotheses. They're educated guesses based on a lot of circumstances and physics, right?
Okay.
And so this is what we currently think, okay?
Okay. So we've got another question about the rings. The rings, I mean, we've talked a little bit, some of the other planets have rings, but when we talk about Saturn, we usually get kind of the picture that you have behind me here.
Right,
This is beautiful planet with these beautiful, beautiful rings.
Oh, of course.
So Kate and Dean from North Carolina want to know if there is a song that they can learn that'll help them remember the rings on Saturn.
I wish, because, I learn things much better when I could put it to a tune,
Me too.
As a matter of fact, I'm teaching my son the very same thing, to remember my number. I want to put it in a tune so it works, but unfortunately, we do not. But the rings make music of their own.
Which is incredible,
Isn't it?
because we think sometimes there's no sound in space. There's the famous line, no one can hear you scream in space. Well,
Right.
we know that's not totally true. So Kate and Dean, you can just Google sounds of Saturn's rings, and they actually make music of their own, which is totally awesome, I think.
It's fantastic.
So our next question here, we talked a little bit at the beginning about Saturn being in opposition.
Okay, yes,
So-
I looked through the telescope last night and looked at Saturn last night, as a matter of fact.
Did you see it?
I did. It was
Awesome.
quite beautiful.
We actually got a great photo last night from one of our Facebook followers, Erin. So if you check out some of the comments, she sent a great photo in, and you can actually see this wonderful little blue planet, and you can see the rings on it a little bit, kind of the oval shape. So Elizabeth, following that, asked the perfect question of, what do we need to see Saturn in the night sky? Now, obviously, we have this telescope here. Do we need this? Can we see it on our own?
You can see Saturn with the naked eye, of course, right? Okay. It's the last planet in our solar system where you can do that, actually. So that's why it was observed in the second millennium with an unaided eye. But, of course, obviously, you want to look through a telescope because you'll get to see it much closer, so you'll need a telescope. Saturn will be in the constellation Ophiuchus. It'll be visible for much of the night, reaching its highest point around midnight. Yes.
Well, and that sounds like a perfect thing to do on a Friday night for the family. So
it's a wonderful thing, even with the neighborhood, for that matter.
Absolutely.
From Colorado Springs, it'll be visible between 2113 and 441. It will rise 9 degrees above your southeastern horizon, just like it did last night, and then reach its high point in the sky at, 59 after midnight, at 29 degrees above your southern horizon, of course. It will become inaccessible at around 4:41 a.m. when it sinks to 10 degrees above your southwestern horizon. Of course, we have Pikes Peak right here, and of course, things go down quicker here, because that's in our way, isn't it?
It is.
It's a beautiful mountain to have in your way, of course.
Oh, it is. And I think the great thing about this is that it is kind of in the southeast. So we know our mountains are in the west. So, hopefully midnight, it's kind of late, but it's a Friday night. So, maybe it'd be a good chance to see it. But, 29 degrees, that's not too high up in the sky.
You're right.
So
You're right.
It's a good thing those mountains won't be in our way too much.
Nice.
Now, we have one final question that we just got here, and that's from Floyd. And this is actually a question specifically for you, Caesar.
Oh, boy, yes.
He's going to bring his daughter down to the Discovery Center here.
Yes.
He wants to know, what is your favorite part of the Discovery Center?
Oh, my lord, that's a great question.
It is a great question.
I would have to say that the science on a sphere is very, very awesome. You can't just see anything else like that anywhere else, the science on a sphere. And we do great presentations here. What else is awesome? I've got to say the Space Lab is wonderful. Mm-hmm. When we got that Space Lab here, it was just magnificent to see the kinds of things that were actually up on the Space Lab on the shuttle missions. And this is it's a working engineering design function, so it's meant to function just like the one up in space.
That is pretty
cool. We also have a section of a solid rocket booster that's really great.
And that just came in, and it is huge.
It's very big, yes.
We see pictures sometimes of the shuttle, and we think, oh, well, that was big, but the size of an airplane, it's not the size of an airplane. I can vouch for that.
It makes me feel small, really.
It does. It makes you feel really small, actually. So, check out Saturn in the night sky. Now, we talked about last night was kind of the peak night, because that's when it was in opposition. And opposition means it's closest to Earth. At that point in the night sky, right, Caesar?
That's right. It's a time when both Saturn and the Sun are on opposite sides of the Earth, if that makes sense. So the Sun is on one side of the Earth, and Saturn is on the very opposite side of the Earth. And then that would also therefore mean that it's when the Saturn is closest to Earth. Yes.
Which is really awesome. Well, we just had Jupiter in opposition not too long ago, so we got to check that out in April. So there's lots of great sky viewing to go on. But if you don't get to see it tonight or this weekend, we're supposed to, I think, have pretty clear skies here in Colorado Springs. Let's hope, right?
Woo-hoo.
But sometimes that doesn't happen. So if you don't get to see it tonight or this weekend or maybe even next week, we do a family star party here at the Discovery Center. And you know what the best thing about it is, Caesar?
Tell me.
It's free.
Oh, my gosh.
I love free, right?
Free is
awesome.
Wonderful. Free is great.
It is fantastic. And so we have this telescope, and we've got a few others like it that we take outside.
Bigger ones,
too. Bigger, yes, there are. There's some that are really, really big. That we can see all sorts of different things. We get to look at nebulas and the planets, whatever's in the night sky. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. That's going to be Wednesday, June 28th. It's always the last Wednesday of the month.
That's right.
So all the outside stuff is free, and then if you want to come inside and see Space Lab or see that Science on a Sphere or the Solid Rocket Booster segment, then all that's half price. So half price is also fantastic, right?
That's fantastic.
You gotta love it. Now, I know not all of you are in Colorado Springs. Now, we wish that you were all there, or that you could all just come on out to Colorado Springs for your vacation. Wouldn't that be amazing? So we have Pikes Peak, Garden of the Gods, which is 5 minutes from our location here. But I know you can't all make it. So if you can't, we are going to do a special Facebook Live from the Family Star Party in 2 weeks.
It's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be fantastic. So it's going to be at 8 o'clock that day. And then what we're going to do is we are going to try to actually look at some of the planets and things with our camera that night. So hopefully we'll be able to show you some of those as well. So we are really, really excited about it. So what I want all of you to do right now is turn on those notifications so you can make sure that you know when we go live.
Turn those on.
Yep, make sure they're on. Also turn on your Instagram ones if you follow us on Instagram. If you don't, follow us on Instagram so you can see what we're doing there as well. Because we're going to do different things on there for our summer discovery where we're planting all sorts of food. So that's going to be pretty exciting as well. But the last thing I want you to do is in the comments section, what do you want to see? When we go live in 2 weeks from our Family Star Party, what do you want to see in the night sky? So go ahead and leave that for us there. Thank you so much, Caesar.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
It was an absolute delight.
You are such a wonderful host.
Well, thank you. I try.
Yes.
We really want to make sure that everyone enjoys it. So, I really enjoyed having Caesar here. I hope you all did too. And we will see you again in 2 weeks.
Goodbye,
have a great weekend.
everybody.